I am Ferdinand Marcos, and I am the President of the Republic of the Philippines. I stand today on behalf of 110 million Filipinos.
Hi everyone, hello universe, it's me again mga beshwa. Ayan, shoutout sa inyo sa mga Marcos loyalists. Siyempre guys, sa mga supporters Filipino and OFW, shoutout po sa inyo mga beshwa. Ayan, i-updates po natin ito, no? Kasi ang Pangulo, no, aalis po siya sa 26. Malapit-lapit na. Papuntang aattend po siya ng Asian Summit. Ay mahalaga po 'yan, mga kababayan. Alam po natin ng Pangulo, not only siya ay kumbaga hindi lang po yung pagsasalita sa harapan ng mga world leaders, kundi mayroon naman talaga siyang mga sideline. No, alam niyo naman mga bilateral meeting niya. Alam niyo naman si Pangulo pag nasa ibang bansa, guys, hindi nag-aaksaya ng panahon yan. Puro investment, encouraging mga banyaga para naman magpuhunan sa Pilipinas. Ganyan eh. Kumbaga nasasanay na ako kasi tuwing umaalis ang Pangulo, no, papunta sa ibang bansa, aatin sa mga international forum, mga world leaders na talaga namang ang Pangulong Marcos Jr. tanging bukod nga lang siya eh. Kasi siya lang yung leaders na talagang mayroong yung kakaibang talagang skill, tulad na lang ng pakikipag-usap sa malalaking kumpanya sa iba't ibang bansa, yung mga sikat na mga kumpanya, na mga businessman. Ayan, ganun ang Pangulo eh, yung roundtable meeting with the famous businessman all over the world. Ayan, ganyan. Kaya alam ko na yan. Well, siyempre, ang kikipag ugnayan sa bawat isa sa bansa ng kanyang kakausapin. Lahat yan. Walang walang maiiwan. Lahat ng bansa talaga namang very friendly ang Pangulong Marcos Jr. Nakikita naman po natin yan, guys. Walang duda. Ang Pangulo ay napakabait, very friendly. Ika nga sabi niya, friendly to all, enemy to none. Patay China, friend niya pa rin yan. So dahil dito guys, no, para kompleto detalyado, panoorin niyo po yung mga activities ng ating Pangulong Marcos Jr. diyan sa Asian Summit. Okay? Ito. Thank you for watching. See you again on my next upload video. Ito na.
Good morning, sir.
Malamang, investment na naman ang sideline yan. Ganyan ang Pangulo, hindi nagsasaya ng oras yan eh.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Claire. And magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. As mentioned by Yusek Claire, the President will be participating in the 46th ASEAN Summit, in the 2nd ASEAN GCC Summit, and in the ASEAN GCC China Summit, all happening in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on 26 and 27 May. The President will be joined by leaders of other ASEAN member states and various dialogue partners at the invitation of Malaysian Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who serves as this year's ASEAN Chair under the theme Inclusivity and Sustainability. The summit is a mechanism for leaders to provide policy direction for ASEAN, build consensus of matters of mutual interest, and exchange views on key regional and international issues. The President is expected to attend 9 leaders-level engagements. 6 of these will be held on May 26th, and these are some of the meetings that will be attended by the President. So there's the plenary session and the retreat session of the 46th ASEAN Summit, and there will be 3 leaders interface meetings with the parliamentarians, with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and also the representatives from ASEAN Youth. And finally, on that day, there will be a signing ceremony of the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on ASEAN 2045. And then there will be 3 more meetings that the President will be participating in the following day. And these are the 16th Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area Summit, or the Bimpiaga Summit, which the President himself will be chairing. And then there's also the second ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, and finally the ASEAN GCC China Summit. Now, in all these engagements, the President will continue to uphold and promote Philippine interests in ASEAN, such as deepening security and stability in the region, economic cooperation, and broadening engagement with dialogue partners. Furthermore, the President will continue to underscore the Philippine sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in accordance with international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award. Meanwhile, the leaders are also expected to discuss various global issues that impact the region and beyond. These include the situation in Myanmar, the United States' new tariffs policy, and other geopolitical and geoeconomic challenges that affect the region. To date, there are 22 outcome documents that are expected to be issued during these summits. Some will be adopted and some will be noted by the leaders. And just a few of these outcome documents include the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on the ASEAN Vision 2045, the joint statement of the second ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, and the joint statement of the ASEAN GCC China Summit. Finally, the President will possibly have a number of bilateral meetings with his counterparts at the silence of the summits. I'll stop there and happy to answer po yung mga katanungan niyo.
First question, Maricel Halili, TV5.
Good morning, sir. Sir, yung bilateral meetings of the President, kaninong mga heads of state ito?
We are still in the process of confirming, but we are hearing of possible bilateral engagements with Laos, with Kuwait, and also with Vietnam.
So tatlo so far?
So far.
Okay. And who among the cabinet officials will join the President in his trip to ASEAN?
Well, as of today, what we have in the delegation, of course, he will be joined by the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. And I understand since there will be a focus on the economic as well, so the Secretary of Department of Trade and Industry is also joining.
Thank you, sir.
Tristan Nadalo, Newswatch.
Hi sir, good morning. Sir, you've mentioned that the President is expected to raise the issues of Philippine sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction. Last ASEAN-China meeting, na-bring up din po yung para mapabilis yung Code of Conduct. So, ano pong iba or at least ipupush pa ng President when it comes to ma-finalize yung Code of Conduct ng madalian?
Yes. So, just to refresh everyone, back in 2023, the foreign ministers of ASEAN, they agreed to fast-track the discussions on the COC. And this is what we are banking on during the summits. The President certainly will push for it. He will raise this with the leaders of the ASEAN. And going back to that statement, it's a reaffirmation of concluding it hopefully among ASEAN and China in 3 years since 2023. So we're looking at 2026 next year.
Ivan Maylina, GMA7.
Sir, good morning. You said that there will be at least 22 documents to be adopted, among them the Kuala Lumpur Declaration and many others. What specific documents are of specific importance to the Philippines?
One of them, of course, would be the joint statement because this will be agreed upon by the leaders. So we're looking at the joint statement of the ASEAN leaders, joint statement also with GCC and with GCC and China leaders. I cannot give you the details because these are still being negotiated, but certainly it will cover the three pillars in ASEAN. So we're looking at peace and security, perhaps on maritime cooperation, and then there's also the economic cooperation. We're all familiar with the usual discussions on, for example, digital transformation within ASEAN. So those things will be covered. I understand there will be something about artificial intelligence, and on the social-cultural, the people-to-people ties, and of course, looking at climate change. That will be part of the discussions. So these are broad topics that I can share as of the moment.
Any trade agreements that are expected to be finalized, especially in the context of the U.S. tariffs?
No trade agreements will be finalized, but certainly this will be a topic during the summit.
Thank you.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
Good morning po. You mentioned that one of the topics to be discussed is yung US tariffs. Ano po particular yung mga lines o kaya yung mga ipupush ng ating Pangulo with regard to this given na malaki yung nakikitang impact nito sa global economy?
So regarding the U.S. unilateral tariffs, I'd like to go back to what the economic ministers did a few weeks back, which they issued a joint statement among ASEAN regarding the unilateral tariffs. And gusto ko na po i-stress doon yung magiging action ng ASEAN member states, which is of course they are concerned, but at the same time we will not, the region will not do a retaliatory measure. Instead, palalaganapin po natin yung maigting na more on bilateral and also multilateral engagement with the US para po maging maganda yung kalabasan ng discussions na yun. As you may recall, we have a team that went to Washington, D.C. earlier. I understand it was led by Secretary Go and also by DTI Secretary Roque. So they were there to discuss this bilaterally with the United States. But under the ASEAN framework, meron din po tayong discussions on that. The details of which though is still being discussed and negotiated, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with something in more detail after the summit. But definitely nasa nasa agenda ng ASEAN, and the President is also looking very much into it.
So yung mga nabanggit po nyo, yung additional engagements, yung no retaliation, more dialogue with the US, ito po ay inaasahan nating susuportahan ng Pangulo sa kanyang engagement sa ASEAN.
Yes, so meron tayong the way to see it is meron tayong ginagawang bilateral discussion with the United States, and under the ASEAN framework naman, the President is very supportive of those non-retaliatory measures. Instead, we're going to do something na it will be beneficial to all the ASEAN member states as a whole.
Salamat po.
Alvin Baltazar, Radyo Pilipinas.
Sir, good morning. Is there a chance for the President to meet with the Filipino community?
I have no information about the meeting on the Filipino community in Malaysia, but happy to share that information in case we have confirmation.
Just to give us an idea, sir, ano ba ang profile ng ating mga Filipino sa Malaysia?
So we have around 200,000 Filipino nationals in Malaysia, and varied po yung kanilang profile. So we have professionals, we also have non-professionals in the field of services, for example, and many of them also are spread out in Malaysia. So yeah, that's the what we have for Malaysia in our Filipinos in Malaysia.
Tristan Nadalo, Newswatch.
Hi sir, ako po ulit. Sir, may reports din na lumalabas na it's expected din na mag-vote ang ASEAN for Timor-Leste's membership. May ganun po ba sir na part ng ASEAN Summit, and if yes, ano pong magiging position ng Philippine government? Because last time may issue with Arnie Teves and Timor-Leste and ASEAN.
The agenda, the Timor-Leste accession to the ASEAN is certainly in the agenda. So kasama po siya sa magiging discussion ng leaders natin. And we are following actually a roadmap. There's a roadmap for Timor-Leste to be able to accede to the ASEAN, and we are following that. And as regards naman po dun sa case ni Teves, it's actually a DOJ matter, so I'm not able to comment on that, but certainly we are supportive of Timor-Leste joining the ASEAN.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
In a recent phone conversation with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar, nabanggit po na pag-uusapan din yung sa Myanmar, yung sa ceasefire. Ano po yung mababanggit kayo ng Pangulo with regard to the Myanmar situation, given that the topic was raised during a previous conversation with the Malaysian leader?
As you know, the Philippines will be the incoming chair of ASEAN next year. So ang napag-usapan po nila is really how Malaysia as the current chair and the Philippines as the incoming chair will be able to work together para magkaroon ng progress dun sa nangyayari sa Myanmar. So that's the general discussion, but hoping we'll be able to share more details as the two leaders meet in Malaysia.
Will he express support for the ceasefire na pinananawagan ng Malaysian government?
Yes. So that's part of the agenda also of the president to call for more or to deepen yung cooperation on the ceasefire within Malaysia, Myanmar rather.
Thank you po.
Do we have more questions for Deputy Assistant Secretary Imperial? Jojo De Mayor, Malaya.
Sir, regarding lang po sa Myanmar, sir, ano po yung magiging posisyon ng Philippines dun sa pagtanggap ng yung junta leader ng Myanmar sa ASEAN?
So under the ASEAN framework, of course, the way we work is non-interference and those other principles under the ASEAN and under the TAC. So kung ano man po yung magiging decision ng current na junta ngayon sa Myanmar that is acceptable to ASEAN, then we will welcome that. So that would be also the position of the President.
Sir, how about yung sa humanitarian situation po sa Myanmar?
On that, I understand there are ongoing discussions with the various groups in Myanmar. As you know, when the earthquake hit a few weeks back in Myanmar, talaga pong naging focus there was the humanitarian assistance for the country. So all the ASEAN member states, including the Philippines of course, nagbigay po tayo ng tulong sa Myanmar. And yung framework po na yun ng ASEAN, that's what we utilize to be able to...
Ano magiging policy for building relations with the GCC countries, including Russia?
Of course, the reason why we're having this summit is we really want to improve and deepen the cooperation between the two regions. So it's ASEAN and GCC. As for the ASEAN GCC China, there is this is of course an initiative of Malaysia to hold a ASEAN GCC China summit, being the chair this year. And for Malaysia, they want to, under their chairship, they want to be able to harness yung potential na cooperation, bringing together not just the GCC and ASEAN but also China. We're looking at more, I believe, on more economic cooperation among those three.
Thank you, Deputy Assistant Secretary Imperial. Yusek